Hey guys, Sabarish here, and today we're going to see about AWS Global Infrastructure and a few basics about EC2, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. So let's start. So AWS Global Infrastructure is globally distributed hardware and data centers that are physically networked together to act as one large resource for end customers. So it just represents how AWS services can be used in a global infrastructure, and there are two ways in which they can be used. One is regional service and the other is global service. Regional service is that this will determine where the AWS service will be launched. So the services that will be some of the services are used in specific locations in the global infrastructure, for example North Virginia or some places like that. And the next is global service, where some services operate across multiple regions, and the example is Amazon S3, CloudFront, Route 53, and IAM. So for these services, it cannot be inclusive about a single region. These services require multiple regions so that the services can work on it. And so these are the services, global service. You can see this in your AWS profile. When you log into yours, you can see that whether you'll be using a global or a regional service. IAM represents identity and access management. It's a different kind of user that you are from apart from the root user. So IAM provides a much more wide access to your profile along with the services that can be used. Next is availability zones. Availability zone is a physical location that is made up of one or more data centers, and data center in turn is a secure building that has hundreds of thousands of servers. So to break it down, we can start with a single server that has a lot of data on that with the services or the platforms that you host. And these servers and hundreds of thousands of servers are contained in a data center. And many data centers compile up to a availability zone, and a region has 3 availability zones. That is like the maximum number of availability zones a region can consist. So here we can see it in this diagrams where it shows availability zone which has 2 or 3 data centers, and they are interlinked between each other, and this is called a region. And data centers will be isolated from each other, but they'll be close enough to provide low latency. So this low latency is helpful for really big companies which require a lot of transactions of data. The next is AWS Cloud Accelerator. It is a networking service that improves the availability and performance of applications for users. This is done by routing traffic to the nearest and the healthiest endpoint. This is just a one-liner for this, and there is another topic called point of presence, which is an important topic under this, but I guess I'll do it for the next video. Now to the basics of Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. This is one of the most famous services that is used by large tech companies or even small companies which requires computing efficiency and network and all those facilities. So let's start with this. EC2 provides secure resizable compute capacity in the cloud as EC2 Instance. So EC2 services are provided in the form of instances, and they provide infrastructure as a service. So in the previous video I had told about the different types of services that are provided, and it comes in the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. The key functionalities of EC2 instances are running applications in any software application, hosting websites and web applications, execute batch processing jobs, which represents the financial modeling or the scientific simulations, big data processing, machine learning, model training, etc. The next is GPU powered instance for AI ML. GPU powered here, best example to say is when you're using Google Colab, you'll be able to see how much of the GPU and CPU you're accessing. So likewise, you can see how GPU powered instance for AI ML can be used in EC2. The next is building servers for continuous integration and continuous delivery, that is CI/CD tasks. Now to the next topic, which is EC2 instance types. There are 5 types of that. The first is general purpose. The next is compute optimized instance, memory optimized instance, accelerator computing, and storage optimized computing. So the meaning to all this is just what the name suggests. So the first is general purpose, where it provides a balance of compute, memory, and network resources. There is no to be precise, if you know partiality on their functionalities, can be used for diverse workloads, which includes web servers and code repositories. The next is code optimized instance. This one is used for compute intensive tasks, and the applications here are gaming servers, high performance computing, and scientific modeling. So these require much more intense compute works to do. So compute optimized instance is the best one for these jobs. The next is memory optimized instance. Here for it is used for memory intensive tasks, and it is ideal for high performance databases. So this database is important, and to distinguish everything, you have to take the applications as an example. So here you use it for high performance computing and scientific modeling, and here you use it for high performance databases. The next is accelerated computing. They use hardware accelerators, and it is used for floating point number calculations, graphics processing, and data pattern matching. So this provides a bit more computing efficiency than the compute optimized instance. The next is storage optimized computing, which the name suggests it is used for data warehousing. The next is, this is an important topic in EC2, so scaling Amazon EC2. So scaling here, it refers to Amazon EC2 auto scaling enables you to automatically add or remove Amazon EC2 instances in response to changing application demand. And for this I have an example to explain. So let's consider a coffee shop, and let's take there is like two customers over here who need coffee, and there is one at the counter here, and there are two persons working behind the counter who make the coffee. So this one person at the counter will be able to manage two persons here, and these two guys will be able to make the coffee and present it to them. But let's take a case where there are 4 customers. If there are 4 customers and there is only one guy at the counter and 2 guys behind the counter who make the coffee, it is not going to be efficient. It will not be efficient. So at that time the customers might lose their interest and their time, and they just leave. So a better way to manage this is going to be adding 2 guys at the counter and another one guy behind the counter who can make the coffee. So even in this instance, so when this instance is present, even when there are 4 customers, they can be able to manage efficiently, such that 2 guys will go up here, 2 guys will go to the next counter. This is how it's going to be approaching. So it just basically means that when a company requires more than the instances that have needed, or if they require less number of instances than they have ordered, they can just do it automatically, and it is much more efficient, and this is the service provided by Amazon. And there are 2 approaches in scaling here: dynamic scaling and predictive scaling. So dynamic scaling here responds to changing demand, and this can be done manually by the users or the customers who check their application demands and work on that and see if they require more or less number of instances. On the other hand, predictive scaling automatically schedules the right number of Amazon EC2 instances based on predictive demand. So this is the service provided by Amazon, where it automatically sees if the number of instances required are should be improved or increased, and this is preferred for most of the companies. But to be noted, to scale faster, you'll have to choose both the scalings. So you can manually change that, or it can either do it predictively. So both are good enough. The last topic is 5 categories of EC2 pricing. So there are different modes of pricing for EC2 instances that you use for your services that you use. And the first is on demand, and this is ideal for short term irregular workloads, and the instances run until you stop them, and it's not recommended for workloads that last a year. So this is mostly preferred for companies that require it only for a short period of time. And the next is savings plan, offers low prices for EC2 in exchange for a commitment to consistent amount of usage measured in dollars per hour. So in savings plan, you don't have a guarantee for that. It's not like guarantee actually, sorry. It's like you'll have to consistently use the instance for which is measured in dollars per hour. You should not take it up to a long it should not take the workload should not be longer and the workload should not be shorter, but you have to use it consistently. The next is reserved instances, and this is used for steady state workloads or ones with a predictive usage. You at the beginning of right at the starting where you use the service, you know how much you are going to use. So at that point you just use reserved instance rather than choosing the other plans here. And with reserved instance you get up to 75% discount. So if you're good enough, you will be able to choose this one by predicting how much you will be using service on your application. The last one is spot instance, and this allows you to spare EC2 computing for up to 95% of the on-demand price. So 95% is a really great discount, but the catch here is that AWS can reclaim the instance whenever they want. They give you like a 2-minute warning so that they'll be taking the instance that you are using. So it's mostly unpredictable as to when they are going to take up your instance. So this one is not preferred by many, but it is used by persons who are trying to get a hang of what EC2 is. So this is all for this video. Thank you so much.